Good evening. Sorry for a bit of delay here. We have our guests on board already. The situation on the road to Białystok is far from perfect, but we're here, everyone. So welcome to Białystok Puppet Theater, a very hospitable and lovely place. And we're having our first conference in IMMERSIONS project, which is called Dimensions. IMMERSIONS project has constituted itself around a year ago, and we are having our annual summary, and we are more than ready to finally share what we have been preparing for you. I'm representing FOMO, which is the leader of the project, but we wouldn't be able to do such things on our own. That's why we invited our friends from Norway, from Monument, from Portugal, Gare, and from Lithuania, Kablys, to come up with some solutions, maybe not solutions, maybe ideas, but the ideas will be presented wider in the presentation that we have prepared for you. So just to sum up the intro, we are co-funded by the European Union through Creative Europe program, and we are backed by Electrum company, climate tech company that helps us develop our ideas and has been a great help and support. Let's go. The presentation is on. Thank you.
Located mainly in big cities, fueled by social media hype and profit motives, the techno scene has never been further from its roots. We are now looking at a profit-driven industry, which is far away from a vibrant and social movement fighting for inclusion and environmental awareness. It is time to redefine success and put community over celebrity. Let's reclaim the heart of our culture. Let's empower the excluded. Let's connect and invest in our community. And so, out of a need to return to our core values, the Immersions project was born. It came to life as a collaboration between 4 European electronic music scene communities: FOMO, Monument, Gare, and Kablys. The project earned support from EU Creative Europe program and strategic backing from the climate tech company, Electrum, who helps us achieve our goals. By bridging techno spots across Europe, we establish a network that brings attention to the overseen artists and audiences of the cultural peripheries. Through Immersions events, a shared music scene emerges, and we grow into a continent-wide community. Our mission is to widen the perspective of the electronic music scene and empower the unsung heroes of the cultural peripheries. How does our system work? Thanks to advanced technology, we craft and share lineups that span across multiple venues. The performances will be shared among cities in real time, enabling artists to perform and interact with the audience at all the venues at once, effectively changing the landscape of the excluded areas of the scene. In this vision, electronic music becomes a unifying force, dismantling barriers and nurturing the cultural peripheries. Simultaneously, interaction portals introduced at every event will enable audiences to engage with each other. One common stage for both artists and the audiences comes to life. In addition to Immersion's hybrid system for our venues, we are introducing a mobile studio and stage designed to reverse the traditional touring model. Rather than requiring multiple artists to travel to major cultural hubs, our mobile studio comes directly to them. We will record DJ sets and live performances which you can later listen to via our Immersions podcast series. The mobile studio can be also transformed into a stage, hosting open-air events live-streamed to the partners' venues. We question the excessive touring practices and monopolization trends, also for the harm they cause the environment. By using new formats for live music distribution, our operational approach will help reduce the carbon footprint of our activities. To further minimize our environmental impact, the mobile studio and stage will rely mainly on its own energy sources. Our dedication to the welfare of society extends to the health of our planet. Throughout the 4-year duration of our project, we will invite you to a broad scope of events, 15 hybrid music events, 8 music workshops, and 4 electronic music seminars. On top of that, you'll have access to over 50 Immersions podcasts, all recorded live from our mobile studio. Join us and let's shape the future of the electronic music scene together. Connect, engage, balance. Immersions, the European hybrid music network for cultural peripheries.
While everything is out in the open now with the presentation finished, I would like to ask Artur Szatkowski, the moderator of tonight's panel, to step in so I can get rid of this microphone.
Thank you, Jędrzej. Hi, everyone. Very nice to be here. Totally pleased. So it's my pleasure to welcome the participants of today's panel. And I would like to start by inviting Filipas. Come and join me. Thank you. Hello. Hello. You will have a brief chance to introduce yourself in a moment, so no worries about that. Then, Hallvard. Hi. Hello. Laura. Mareen. And finally, Miloš. Yay. So we have 3 microphones, so we need to share and divide and conquer with those. So can I ask kindly each of you to say a few words about yourself? Maybe starting with Miloš, as he was late for the panel, and that's why we kicked off the thing a bit late.
Okay, first of all, I apologize to everyone for being late. It will never happen again, Artur and FOMO and Immersions. Yeah, I hail from Serbia. I like music and techno a lot, and I
Video games?
I DJ, produce. Yeah, I do play video games. And yeah, I kind of really love this thing, this scene that has given us so much. I love it through its ups and downs. So I guess this is why I'm here, because I have opinions on it. Because I don't know if people are aware, but we didn't really know I don't know about all the panelists, but some of the panelists didn't really know what we were going to talk about today. So I'm guessing this is why I'm included in this, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Miloš. Mareen.
Yes, my artist name is Mareena. I'm from Berlin, and yeah, thank you for the invitation, first of all. Yeah, I'm involved with Tresor Club since 12 years as a resident DJ. I also run my own ambient label and podcast series called Unrush since 7-8 years now. Yeah, so, and yeah, I'm also a touring DJ and music producer, getting better sometimes. And yeah, so I'm also involved since I think 2000 in the beloved techno scene, and yeah, I have a lot of experience, I would say, ups and downs, as Miloš said, and I'm home here, and yeah, I want this to be a healthy environment for the future as well. So yeah, and I also want to add, I didn't know anything about the topic today. So yeah, let's see what comes up.
Thank you. Laura.
Hello again. So my name is Laura, as you heard already. I'm a DJ and I also create events, and I'm originally, now it gets complicated, I was born in Germany. I'm half Spanish, but I live in Finland. So now I'm here, and I'm part also of Monument, which is in Norway, so another connection. And yeah, you can see me and hear me play under the name Laura MRLS, not MRLS, but it's MRLS. So yeah, I'm really excited to talk about the state of techno this year and what we're gonna see in the future. So yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really, really happy to be the first time in Poland now. So yeah, let's discuss a bit.
Hallvard, thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Hallvard. I'm also from Monument. I also came prepared knowing what the topic was, so Monument are prepared. Sometimes I perform as a solo artist, and sometimes I perform as part of a duo called Bazalt with a friend of mine who also lives in Berlin. But that's not how my main activity, neither professionally nor musically. So Monument to me is mainly a passion thing. It's nothing I make a living out of. But the passion I put mostly into organizing events, and largely it's about the yearly Monument Festival, which takes place 2 hours out of Oslo in the nature, 4 days, first weekend of August. This year, I think we're going to be 2,000 people, and that's the maximum of that festival. It's the 5th time we're doing this now. And thanks for having me here. I'm excited to see what this conversation is going to turn out to be.
Thank you, Hallvard. Okay.
Good evening again. I have my own microphone. I'm Filipas, and I come from Vilnius, Lithuania. I am a DJ for the past 15 years or so. I DJ under the name Kameu, not Kameu, Kameu. And I've been a part of Minimal Tea, Minimal Mondays, Supines Festival previously, and also we have our own event and podcast series, Black Wave. So yeah, I'm also really eager to discuss about the techno and where we're headed.
Thank you so much, Filipas. Okay, and just a few words about myself. My name is Artur Szatkowski. I've been DJing for 25 years now, I believe, but I am sort of retired. I come back to events every few months, and it's a great pleasure to be hosting this panel. I guess Jędrzej chose me because I tend to speak a lot. However, my main goal here is to make sure that Miloš doesn't talk too much. So we need to make sure he doesn't hijack the entire discussion panel. That's my major plan. But as of the ground rules, if I could set up some, I'm here just to give you space. So feel free to talk as much as you wish, except for you, Miloš. Feel free to sort of interrupt each other, maybe. Please try not to, but feel free to comment on what each other says. Also, I will be giving you certain topics, certain questions. They will be for all of you, except for the first one, which you will find out in a moment. And yeah, so let's kick off. So my first question actually goes to those two who are unprepared. And just so that you know, that was on purpose. That was purely on purpose. We wanted the part sitting to my left and your, I guess, yeah, your left, are prepared. So the Monument and Vilnius team are prepared because they are part of the team, while you guys have seen the video for the first time right now. So Mareen, maybe starting with you. What are your first impressions, first thoughts after seeing the video?
Okay, I have to be very honest. I was traveling for 9 hours just now. And I had a little moment of where I just arrived and was like, and so I missed maybe a little bit of the video. But so what I understood is that you have built a truck that is going through the peripheries. And I just want to recap it so I just understood it correctly. And you want to throw events from the truck. And it's not going to happen in the main cities. It's happening in smaller cities that are maybe not on the radar of everyone. That's amazing. I really love that idea. And yeah, it's really like, it feels a little bit like this one truck that went on the festival, but nobody else knew where the truck is. And there was the biggest party, actually. So it really felt like back to the roots, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, super. Miloš, how about you, my friend?
I hate it.
Oh,
no, just. By the way, I forgot to say my artist name. My artist name is Commissar Lalek. For those who don't know me as Miloš, and I have to say I have sort of kind of strong analyzed opinions on what the scene is, but I always realize that I don't know what it's going to be and what the future is. So it's very refreshing to see someone try to create an initiative to change something. And I can also say I really like the idea of this, like bringing the music to the people, because the biggest gift the scene ever gave me is that I felt like I belonged. And it used to be that clubbing was the safe haven for people who were kind of too weird to live, too rare to die. And it used to be that it was a very vibrant scene in the smaller places as well, because people would come from surrounding places and everyone, because they were so drawn to this thing. And yeah, throughout time, somehow this disappeared and it got sort of centralized in the big hubs. And seeing some party or something going strong in a smaller city is always a surprise. So hopefully the impact of this initiative is not just like a one-off thing, but sows some seeds and shows people how to move forward beyond just this. I mean, just this. This is a big initiative, but you know what I mean.
I do.
Yep.
It's funny what, you made me think of how long our connection between each other. Do you know we've known each other for 20 years now? And that was because of this, what you mentioned, people who are the outcasts, who connected in the past via online forums, right? Yep. Like we did. So it's funny you should mention that, how it evolved in something completely different. Okay, so now, because I had this idea to play the video twice so that everybody gets it fully, because it's a lot of information. So I guess it would be great to hear more about the project for people who are actually involved. So maybe Laura, if you could go first.
All right. What to say? So much communication I've been doing mostly for this project, and it's always a tough thing to summarize it. But of course, like as Mareen has already said, like the main thing is that we want to support the peripheries and that the music comes to them, and also that we want to decentralize a little bit, as you both said correctly and could hear what our project is about. Is really, we are thinking, or we are looking at this really social media influenced techno scene where artists are basically booked because they have a lot of followers, and the question is what is about the other artists that have maybe even a family and they live a bit further away, right? So we want to include them and come to them, and it's not just that we have a cool track which is being developed right now, but we will also have, as we started already, workshops. So our aim is that we have in our locations in Oslo, in Vilnius, in Porto, and in Białystok, we have a leader who does the workshop, and then it's connected, all the cities are being connected, and we want to not just educate as well, but build this community further, which we have already, which is really beautiful, and kind of come back to our core values. That is more about inclusion. It doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter how old you are, it's just about music and our community, I would say.
Thank you, that's great to hear. There's a quick summary. Hallvard, is there anything you'd like to add? Or you need to choose your weapon.
No, I think the main part of this is not the technology, not the truck, but it's a community and the part of being not part of the Central Europe. We are all at the periphery, and we are already connected as part of the project, and we are really growing into quite about friendship, strong community. We met repeatedly. We're meeting each other's crowds and followers, so the community is slowly growing by itself only through this. So it's really going to be very exciting to see how also the technology is going to support that, and to see how well we will succeed in growing a community across physical borders and barriers by help of technology. So I think, Laura, what you said was that your mother looked at the video and she just said, "This is the future of music." And that's something that's really ambitious and inspiring, I think, to have in mind for what we are doing. We may not accomplish that over 4 years, but at least we're trying to pull this into a certain direction. And
Right.
like I said, the key point here is not the technology, but the community and bringing people together physically or virtually.
Okay, thank you so much. Filipas, is there anything you'd like to add here?
Geez, it's been said a lot, and almost everything, every point that I could have said. Well, maybe just to add that maybe we'll not achieve everything in those first 4 years, but it could be a push to develop more and to dig deeper and connect more and continue with the project after that.
Okay, thank you. But you all mentioned the technology there, but you really said it's not about technology. However, I'm really drawn to this part, the core concept of this virtual audience, virtual sort of shared club, shared scene. Could you elaborate on it a bit more? And whoever wants to pick up the mic, feel free, whoever feels the strongest to talk about it.
I can take a shot. But to me, some of it is still quite abstract. And what we have agreed on is that even though we have dreams and ambitions, we have agreed that we want to start small. Because how is this going to play out in practice? Just imagine yourself being at a club, witnessing something on screen that takes place at another club. What is that situation going to be like? How is it going to? How are you going to feel like you're part of that? How are you going to feel included? How is technology going to support that and make you immerse into that? Because that's what this is about. How successful is that going to be? Well, we don't really know, but we want to experiment. And since we don't really have all the answers, we want to try out in small drops. So we have some test events that we are now planning for. Smaller clubs between friends before we kind of expand this like rings in the water and bring the wider audience into this. It's not that we want to exclude anyone, but we want to be sure that what is being launched to the wider audience is going to be successful. And also we're seeing that technology has, even though it has great opportunities, it also has some weaknesses. Technologies sometimes fail. So what's the backup plan then? So we need to have some backups in order to even make an event at 3 other locations, having a nice, turning out successfully and nice, even though the technology might fail. So you've been working in technology, I've been working in technology. We know that having a backup plan is a good idea. So we start small, we fail if we must, and we draw experience from that before we broaden it out.
Fail fast, right?
Exactly.
Laura, is there anything you wanted to add? Did I?
Well, another important part is obviously that we not just want to have one party in Oslo, which is going to be streamed in our 3 other cities, but also how do we connect our crowds in the clubs. So we want to create something. We cannot promise, obviously, but we want some interaction points so that the crowds can somehow talk to each other or even see each other and so on. So it's about that as well, not just to have a screen with a DJ, but obviously more. There's much more to our project. Yes.
When you say screen with a DJ, so how do you manage the booking then for the artists? Is it like a streamed set from someone playing somewhere, or?
Maybe I can, or you can, yeah.
The idea is that the DJ plays live at one of the cities, and it is streamed to 3 other locations live, with no delays, no pre-recorded sets or whatever. Well, it's the idea. I guess we're gonna be growing with the crowd and with the technology. So yeah, the DJ will be at least for now, the headliner should be at one of the places, and it will be streamed to other locations. And we think that the most important thing that you're gonna enjoy the music between the people in the club, and you shouldn't be like drawn to see the DJ even.
I love that.
Another part of this is also how it's going to be felt for the performing artist. Performing in one place, how are we going to provide feedback from the other places that are not physically in the same space? So how can we provide feedback over screen, through social media in real time? So we're kind of exploring the options for this. And like I said before, we're starting small to see what works and what doesn't work. But you could see this as a kind of a broadcast system. So it needs to be very professional, technically quite advanced, but we start small as well, because having a very professional broadcast system takes a lot of money, and we don't have the capability to invest that much, at least not at this stage. We want to try it out first with some simpler means, but still professional.
I was wondering when that time comes, where these things happen. It's really cool. Also thinking about the environment and traveling and stuff. So it's really cool.
Jobless 5G. That's what we need, right? Okay, so we'll get back to the project with further questions, but now for a moment I would like to ask each of you a more sort of personal question. Maybe Miloš, you can start. So if you could think, and that's going to be a hard one, if you could think of what changed the most, what's the major change that you notice in partying, playing, whatever you name it, since the time when you started it and as it is now? So what's the difference between those, in your case, like early 2000s, late 90s, and now? What would you see as the most significant change?
So I have to pick one.
Oh, no, you can name a few.
So the one of the things is real estate. Way more, like the democratization of technology enabled so many more people to be DJs and producers, so it's way more crowded and difficult to be noticed, or at least to get people to pay attention. So it changes to being about things other than music, which demands time and attention. Another thing is the balance between the importance of community versus the importance of idol worship. So like the first club that I was going out to, you couldn't even see the DJ. People were just like turned to each other. And these days it's a little bit too much about the one person for a culture that sort of built its everything based on this notion that everyone is welcome and everyone is important. And it was always like DJing as an art form is a dialogue, so you don't exist without the crowd, and you can't really express yourself without the crowd because it has to be like a back and forth. And this is very, very noticeable. And I had something else in mind, but it just evaporated. But yeah, it's like, I think those things are the most, it's kind of fast, and it's become one-dimensional in that, yes, the third thing is that talking about clubbing and music and culture around the music that doesn't have to be clubbing is now, because of the real estate and the fact that it has become so much of a business, it has boiled down to the ticket sales period. So if we're talking about an artist or techno, it starts when the first ticket is about to be sold, and it ends when you're done with that. Maybe you post some photos from the event, but if you're not making music or anything, there's zero effort being put into stuff like this. So people that are, for example, organizing festivals without expecting that to be their source of income that they can then pay for a vacation off of, we don't have enough of that, and we don't have enough people talking about things, listen to Otecker on after parties instead of Schruns and stuff like this. So I think that's the thing that I miss the most, like just there being a conversation constantly in the air, and then clubbing is just a part of it.
I know I should remain neutral, but you just nailed it.
Thank you.
Okay. Mareen.
I think, there was a lot said just now. I think what I think in general is like when we talk about independent music that has been so dependent these days on things, it's not independent music anymore. And what just been said about social media and marketing. And the other thing is, of course, technology has been available and changed, of course, the investment of energy and money and stuff. So, which is good and bad, I think. And I think in general, what Miloš said about the focus on the DJ as a personality went a little bit out of control, I think, these days. So, like, I mean, it's still a person that plays other people's music, so I think there should be more honoring on the producers, which has been done by projects like Slice, or people are motivated to actually pay for music and not just download it on some dodgy platforms. So I think there should be a little bit more. I think because the scene has been so professionalized and just been so big these days, you always have to go tell people again about the values and what this is about, what they, that there are some core values that should be respected, and I think we have to do it every day. So because the scene is getting just so big, and it's not just one single person as a weirdo, like maybe all of us, why we have started it actually, or why we feel home, is now a little bit different. So it's just more people coming, and
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mareen. Laura, let's go.
Right, thank you. I have to say something. If you wonder what those noises are, and if you hear that online, we're in a theater, so they're actually having some rehearsal. That's why I was smiling a bit in between as well. It was said quite a lot already, which I also strongly agree about. What I've been lately talking about with DJ friends and producer friends is the lineups in the clubs. Of course, we have like really great clubs, especially in Berlin. And what I'm missing is that the lineups are a bit more. Of course, we need to make all money, right? And it's the ticket sale and all that. But there are so many successful nights or bookings made for the ticket sale, and I think clubs, bookers, I'm a bit direct, should be more bold and have a few days per month that are nights which are more progressive, more experimental, not just we can talk about this as well, of course, like what is the current techno style, what is the mainstream techno style, what is the trend right now. But, to widen the picture as well a bit more, the genres, subgenres of techno, because we have so many. And of course, I think also another point is that artists nowadays, they mix back and forth, which is also beautiful. I think before it was way more strict what kind of style you have to play in order to make your sound and progress as an artist and be taken serious. Now it's more mixed, but I'm still missing a lot these nights in the clubs, in the bigger spaces as well, that take risks.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So gentlemen, who wants to pick the mic first?
I can go first, but I have a bit of schizophrenic mindset around the current state of things. On the positive note is that there's so much good music being produced these days. So much good music. So much good to pick from. And as a music lover, I really love that. But like was said here before, the technology and the democratization of the means to produce music also makes every artist drown in the sea of other artists. So it's not sustainable in itself because of the abundance of music and artists coming out. And at the same time, techno, or techno in brackets, is mainstream these days. But the kind of techno that I find of quality is harder to find, because techno or music that people like to label techno is everywhere. Everybody used to want to be a DJ. Nowadays, everybody wants to be an organizer of an event. So we're kind of drowning in events of techno. So we're struggling to get attention, I think, to what we are passionate about, the quality parts of it, the sustainable part, the slower parts. You don't have to do 160 BPM just to please the younger crowd.
There should be everything, right?
Yeah,
not just one direction.
I'm not opposing it. I'm just kind of expressing the, like I said, the schizophrenic mindset about this, because there's so many good things, but also many of those good things contribute to the bad things.
So how to cut through the clutter, right, with so much music?
Well, as Hallvard said, there's so much good music, but it's even more, pardon my French, shitty music out there. And nowadays I think everyone wants to be famous. They don't want to share their music, their tastes. Well, not everyone. Majority, I'd say, of people just want to have 15 seconds of TikTok fame. Probably that. Or they create music specifically to attract the people through the short videos and then go famous.
Regarding the music thing, I wholeheartedly agree. I've been in this for, I've been listening to techno since early 2000s, even before, and I don't think I've ever witnessed a wider spread of different techno styles, which are of impressive, both hearing new things and also hearing old formula but done really well. But there is a thing that, last year, just thinking about things, I started dividing people into guestless people and ticket-paying people, which is we're all guestless people, whether we like it or not. Guestless people usually think about music 24/7. They can detect bullshit. They can detect quality very quickly, but they have been on the scene for a while, and they know what they like, they know what they don't like. They're less likely to come out randomly, and if they do, they'll come with maybe one other person, and they're more likely than not going to be on the guest list, just because they've been on the scene for such a long time and they know everyone, not because they're evil or whatever. But then on the other side, you have the ticket-paying people who don't really care about music that much. It's something for the background or something that you attune to for the weekend or whatever. But if you grab their attention, these people will support the scene. They'll come in droves. They'll start. They'll come early. They're gonna stay late. And the thing is that I've found in the past 10 years of social media and people living in all sorts of bubbles, so many people who are guestless people live in the guestless bubble where they try to, and I'm guilty of this as well, where they try to understand or impress or communicate in a way that reaches other guestless people. They want to stay connected because we are hungry for this connection that is rarer and rarer of someone really caring about music and really living it, against communicating this very thing that we know is important to the people who don't really care about that so much. And the crowd who is playing this glitter techno thing, whatever, they are very good at communicating with the ticket payers. They're very, very good at that. And there's a lot to learn from them. There's a lot to unpack. And I think with the experience that guestless people come with, surely there are even better ways to keep this conversation going and grab their attention and point them in the right direction, not necessarily away from what they already like, but just like, here's this as well. Here's this legend who is a legend for a reason, etc. So I think it's just this danger of the guestless people bubble that is so present in, especially in like the older generation that I already consider myself to be, even though I don't look it, but you know, it's like as soon as you go like, oh, those were the times, it's just like you're done. But again, I ramble on. You know, I've made my point.
Yeah, and at some point, I do believe that ticket payers become the guestless people, right? Either they drop from the scene.
Yes, but the problem is the sell these days is not, and this happens every time there's like a recession or something. You need what we in the Balkans call turbofolk, which is like the turbofolk is whatever riles the masses. It's like the instant gratification thing. And the ecosystem right now is set in such a way that you sell the hype, and then at the party you don't actually offer the party, but you offer something that helps harvest more material for selling the hype. And you can only ride the placebo wave for such a long time. So in order for someone to become a guestless person, they have to be enthralled and enchanted by the thing that they're presented with. But if you come in through the doors of the placebo and you keep going to the same well, after like 5-6 parties, you're just gonna go like, okay, I'm going to a trap party right now, and or turbofolk, like whatever, and then the only like really pessimistic take of mine from this is that I think the turnaround of like generations has quickened radically, and the leftover, so to say, guest people who used to be of this enough, so to say, like a critical mass that enables for a special, enables for someone in your city to book Outtaker and not be afraid if they're gonna be able to cover it. I think this number has reduced greatly just because of the quick turnaround. So yes, but I think this also has changed.
Hallvard.
But in addition to those categories, you have a third category of people, which I think are the people we are targeting. It's the community people. People who see they want to find common grounds with other people who they share interest, passion, want to spend time with, where music is a part of that holistic experience. And that is one of the key aspects of the Immersions project, and that's also definitely one of the key drivers for everything that Monument does. So we have the Monument family. Monument is 12 years old now, and over 12 years we've built up a large community of followers. Last year we had people coming to our festival from 50 countries, coming to Norway from 50 countries. And at the point in time, we'd sold more countries to people coming from New Zealand than from the local area in Norway. So this is something that brings people together also. If you manage to single out the right values and you're consistent with that, and you have a clear message of what you want to bring, and also if you're not in a rush, you don't do the hype thing, but you take your time, you build over time. You stay true to your values, and you live those values, and then invite in people that want to share those values, and have them invite again, like rings spreading in water. I think that's the third category, and that's the category of people I really want to see sticking with what we do for a long period of time.
That's nice to hear that exists. Like, I occasionally run into it, and it kind of brings back some hope. But I always need reminders, yeah.
And that's, actually hearing something optimistic, because when I asked you about the things that changed, you all focused on negative stuff. Really, most of what I heard was, the changes for worse. So what would you say changed for better? And maybe let's start with Mareen. I'll give you some time to think if you need, of course. But what would you single out as, one definite change for good?
I think for an artist, definitely to make a livelihood out of it today. So you can really clearly and purely live from it. Like you can think about music every day. If you are touring every weekend and maybe have releases that are paid, whatever. And yeah, to sit here and talk about it is also really positive, I think,
Right.
so that these things bring us together actually, and have a group of people that say, hey, something really doesn't feel right, let's change something, and this is also something positive for me.
Super. Thank you so much. Laura.
No,
Oh,
let
you
me
wanted
think.
to add something?
I
Sure.
need to add a third thing for the third thing, but
Okay.
I will think of something.
Feel free to.
Yeah, really nice things. I was also thinking earlier, should I say something positive now? Maybe I wait. I think, of course, like going back to the point, like, should we see the DJ or not? I think it's a thing of discussion. What I actually liked from growing up, of course, growing up in the 90s, early 2000s, being a teenager, then, yeah, I went to clubs and I didn't really remember who was playing. I didn't even see who was playing. Nowadays, though, I really appreciate when I can look into the direction of the DJ or where the DJ might be, to just really have the chance not to chat with your friends or community that much on the dance floor. I love to give smiles, obviously, but I really love to be in one direction often, and and just like being able to find my crazy moment where I can just close my eyes or just dance really crazy and people step aside sometimes, which is good. And of course, I mean, dancing together is possible in different ways, right? But I kind of like that from it.
I take it it's not waltz or anything. That you
Samba, yeah. No. But yeah, if I'm in the moment, I like to dance a bit, Yeah, just
Let's
like
see
focus.
some of it tonight, yeah?
Yeah, maybe you'll see my dance moves.
Okay, Filipas.
Well, we can connect now instantly with the people across the world, and just as Hallvard told that now people are coming from New Zealand to Norway, I guess previously it would be harder, not impossible, but harder to reach these audiences. So this is probably the most positive thing.
Yeah, I should then mention that part of what's been enabling this community over the years is that we have been producing podcasts ever since the beginning. Now we've got more than 400 podcast episodes. So we've also been able to support fresh and upcoming artists from their beginning of their careers, which has also helped us build up a large network of both artists and audience over that time. So a very positive thing is that we feel that many artists are very grateful for that support that we've been able to provide with the podcast and also with inviting them. And also some of the most interesting and attractive artists who's been playing at our festival, they ask if they can come back, even just as audience, they really want to come back. So to us, it's obviously it's great to be able to produce a festival which is attractive to the audience. But if we're also seen as attractive to the artists, that's even better, because we know that they will bring that with them. The next place they go, they will talk to their agencies about that, and so that's a very positive thing.
Okay. Mareen, do you have your third thing in mind?
Yeah, forgot it.
We can...
Miloš?
Miloš. He's gonna speak for a while, so you can take your time to think.
Besides everything that's been said, and I agree with, I have a few selfish things that I really like. One is the access of music. Even though I miss some things about like vinyl being the only medium, I so don't miss like this limiting of this. Like I remember the last time techno turned to absolute shit, I had to like sort of abandon techno, and then when everyone switched to the next popular thing, only then, when the people who really love techno stayed, I sort of felt drawn back to it. Now, even though there's a thing called techno that hijacked the thing that I loved, I don't feel like I have to move to a different thing, because there's so much music that I can access, and also you can access it. Like, you don't have to order the record and then it disappears in the post because you're in Serbia, and you just, like, today I like the record, I download it and I can play it today. It's to me, that's absolutely insane. I remember the first time it happened, I was just under this impression so for such a long time. That was crazy. And also I think like recently, in the past 2 years, I think that this grip of money on the scene that is suffocating to some has I don't know if I was just lucky to encounter people like this, or if it's like a trend now, but I've encountered so many collectives and individuals who put music first and second and third, and I didn't, like, I can't say that I've encountered so much of that in like 5 years ago, 8 years ago. So maybe I'm just lucky, and maybe there is sort of a resistance, especially from people who are like young people will always have this starry look in their eyes, but people with experience who usually lean towards being a little bit more cynical or practical, and you don't expect them to just do it for the art. More and more of that I get to encounter, and I feel very lucky for it, and I hope that it's a trend. I hope I'm not just lucky.
When was the time you abandoned techno that you mentioned?
Recreate. Hurts. That's an amazing track, but it started off this trend of like this loopy, just put 5 dumb layers, a kick snare, hi-hat, loop a short Latin thing that you expand the loop on the break. Like every track was the same. I remember I remember Kenny Larkin talking about this. Like, they have these techno boxes. You just drop in samples and the track is done. And I was like, I can't. I need to hear a person in that track. I need to hear a person in DJ set. I need to hear a person in the production. And it was just like nothing, no face, no identity, no soul. And I was just like, okay, progressive house, here I come. And then I switched back when everything slowed down. Yeah.
Progressive house. Yeah. Okay. So, Mareen, do you have your third thing, or?
Yeah, sure. I think the equality on the lineups has definitely been a positive aspect about recent years. Like there's, if you look especially also on the club lineups, when I compare like lineups 10 years ago where I played in the same club, where I was the only female artist maybe on the lineup, which has definitely changed. And yeah, there's like more people of color involved in lineups, and there's more artists that are representing the heritage of music as well. So it's amazing. There's a lot of change, positive.
Okay,
yep.
Super. Anybody would like to add anything here? Yes.
I'm all about positivism here.
Okay.
There's so many positives. One thing that I personally find extremely rewarding in being on the organizing side is the ability to meet and have conversations with some of my favorite artists. I really find that so rewarding. Discuss music, share thoughts, share playlists, or and discuss the music, and also get to meet the people, the persons behind the artist. I think that's personally, I find that very, very rewarding. And one other thing also, it's about the community thing again. It's about how we now experience that the number of people who want to contribute as volunteers and contribute to the further growth of our festival is just awesome. It's like it's its own organism. So I, as one of the 5 or 6 leaders of the festival, we set the direction and we create the teams, and then the teams set off doing their part, and they come back with amazing stuff. We couldn't think of half of it ourselves. And they just take it away, and they just realize it and put it into action. And it's like I said, they take part in the festival, they take ownership in the festival, and that's, to me, that's the best thing that can come out of doing what we do, inviting people in, and see they put commitment and energy, creativity, effort into that, and see it grows beyond the limits that we could see for ourselves. Very rewarding.
Cool. Thank you so much. Go ahead,
Yes,
go ahead.
thank
The more positive, the better.
About your point, Mareen, yeah, I think also really positively, but I have to push here again, that the lineups are more diverse in every directions, also non-binary, which I represent. Over the past 10 years, it has been growing from a few percent, and you can check the report from Female Pressure. They have a really cool report they have been doing over the past 10 years, actually, and now we saw that female, non-binary, and others, like others meaning kind of like the duos, that one is maybe non-binary and the other represents male, or and so on, is now 30%. But 30% for me is really positive, but shockingly super low. And non-binary, I think it's like just a few tiny percent still. So please, bookers, be open and book everything. And of course, it should be about the music, but sometimes you need to just check a bit more and just have your, you know, the way you book a bit more in this, dig deeper, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, now, I want you all to use your imagination as much as you can. Miloš, I know you can. Think now we're in 2024. Think the year is 2035. What do you think, or what do you guess, or what would you like to see changing as regards the party, the clubbing scene, artists' life, not necessarily flying your own jumbo jet, because we know it's harmful for the environment, right? So, but whatever comes to your mind, what's the change you would like to see, or what do you think is something that's going to happen, whether you want it or not? Take your time. I'm not pushing you. I knew he would be ready.
I think the only thing that I would like to change, but I don't really see it changing, but I'm cynical, so I think a lot of people start from this position of like 1-2 punch, like I'll do this and then I get successful. Whereas, I mean, DJing is the only thing where you have dialogue, and this scene, since I came into it, I've seen waves of it, but always at the foundation is the scene and the plur and everything that goes around with it. So I see too many people who enter the scene, start doing their own thing, don't get instant gratification, and then either get mad at the scene or succumb to the pressure of, no, you do this to succeed. And I can count on my fingers how many DJs I've heard in the past year that sound like them instead of sounding like either nothing or trying to copy someone. So I would love more people to be aware of how much, like if you're in this, you owe so much. You owe to the people before, you owe to countless faceless promoters, organizers, distributors, all the people who are involved, so that your face could appear somewhere in front of a crowd or on a record. Speaking of which, like releasing music has become such a almost a sure loss for 90% of labels, but people still do it for some reason. And then I see, artists get pissy with label bosses or impatient or whatever. So like a little bit less entitlement, a little bit more understanding of where you are in the constellation, and a little bit also more faith in yourself and your individual sounds, because we have a lot of this cookie cutter stuff already. We need you. We need you as a person to sound like you as a person, both in production and DJing. That's the interesting thing. I don't want to hear the same set 5 times during the night. I want to hear something, even if it's like a train wreck. I prefer a train wreck that sounds like someone. I remember going to a Hieroglyphic Being DJ set, like 4 turntables, no beat matching, just like throbbing gristle, like some jazz and a Chicago house track, not like and a 5-minute, like all 3 channels up, like nothing makes sense. But I was like, okay, but this is him, and I want more of the weird stuff. I want more of just not necessarily chaos, just honesty and belief in that honesty that should come from loving yourself, and then also loving the scene for what it is and everyone who make it such a thing. Because right now I think there's a little bit more of a, I want to be the person in front of everyone that gets to choose the tracks. It might be just a territorial thing, like where I'm from and what I get to see on a daily basis, but I think there's a little bit too much of that and not enough of the soul food that we fell in love with this thing for.
I'm tempted to provoke you a little bit here. I mean, in order to get your own style, you start with copying others. It's always the process.
Sure, but you start with something. You know, it's like the Newton quote, like you're standing on shoulders of gods, but it's still like I've started by loving the Slovakian techno thing, the offbeat standard techno, but I've never heard anyone say you sound like Lokty Brada or DJ Boss. No matter how much I tried or wanted to copy them, it will sound like me. And no matter how much I hear people like, your music is unbeat matchable. First of all, watch me. Second of all, I'm not gonna change it just because it's not like super commercially, you know, like griddable, you know, just because it confuses the BPM counter on the DJM, I'm not gonna change my thing. Yeah.
Okay. Who wants to go next? Maybe volunteers, or should I look at? Oh.
So I think that, as Miloš said previously about the more people emerging new conceptual, I think more people who love the music from all this scene, what's happening now, that it will grow into some beautiful things. And of course, the cycle will change again, and I hope that the things slow down a little bit, BPM-wise, for example. Yeah, it should be eventually, and I guess we're gonna talk afterwards, after the panel, and we can bet on when it's gonna happen.
4 years from now. Okay.
So last year I was invited as a guest to the Up to Date festival, and they had this brilliant thing which I see as an extended part of inclusiveness. Everybody aged 55 or older got in for free. And I would really like to see that as part of our definition of diversity and inclusiveness.
Awesome. Yes. And, you know, slowly getting there as well. So maybe NJ will let me in for free.
But only for those not on the guest list.
But we're the guest list people, right? As Miloš mentioned. Thank you. Laura?
Yes. So the future of techno, I think it will get more trendy. It will be more centralized, it will be faster until it comes back a bit again. But I will say, like, what I love right now, it's really, I think I mentioned it a bit, like that there's so many subgenres mixed together, and there's so much blooming right now as the definition of techno is so extended. And I'm really excited about so many new collectives, so many new queer collectives, and safer spaces have been popping up more and more, which is really good, and we still have to push that everyone in the clubs feels safe as well. But I'm always thinking it will get first a bit worse, and then it will slowly go back. And I'm myself from the darker sounds and a bit more harsher sounds. We had a great time, which was really trending, I think, but EBM-wise, industrial techno-wise, longer time now, and that's a bit gone. But I will say to everyone out there who still likes it, stay on it, because it doesn't matter what is trend right now. You play what you love, and I think that's also coming more forward, and I'm really excited about everyone in the scene right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Mareen.
right, that has disappeared a little bit, right, yeah. Oh, when you say-
Already, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you bring it back.
I try to push it in there, you know, I play many genres together.
That's good, yeah, it's also something I really miss, and that's also how I learned to DJ, actually. Everything that sounds good, just bring it together and make the people having a good time. And doesn't matter if the mix is good or not, it's just about the music. And yeah, I mean, if you can mix it well, that's even better. But yeah, I wish a little bit more colorful lineups when it comes to music representation. And if I'm really idealistic about the future, I would really wish that, I think promoters have a really big responsibility these days, and club bookers, and it's really up to them what's happening. And of course to the artists as well. The artists believe we need more artists, like artists for sure, that really push the music forward. And don't only produce music for Spotify, and music that can be looped and layered and whatever, but really music. So yeah, I think these two groups have a really important role in the future.
Okay. I actually, you inspired me to ask my next question, because you said it's about mixing music for people to have a good time. But is it really what it is about? Do you feel it's always like, maybe I'm provoking you a little bit, but is it about us performing, artists performing, to ensure people have good time, or to challenge them a bit?
I think what they want and what they need is very different. For sure. And this is very essential. I think you need both. You need to find a good balance of both. You need to challenge people, but you also need to, you need to build tension, but you also need relaxation, So you can't have tension without relaxation. So you need to find the sweet spot in your sets.
Okay, yeah, I fully agree.
Totally too.
Totally. Okay, now let's move back to the topic of the project a little bit, but starting with the topic of the large cities. So I wanted to ask you, first of all, what's your favorite place to perform? But Berlin is not an option here. You can't mention Berlin. Feel free to name any other city. I mean, for those of you who are artists, for those of you who are not performing, obviously it's about going out, it's about clubbing.
Does it need to be a city?
No, not necessarily. I just named it, basically city, town, any area. A place, yeah. Sorry, I'm just,
Gare, Porto, and FOMO.
What was the second?
FOMO,
FOMO.
yeah. This now defunct club, but it was my favorite place.
I never had the honor to play at FOMO, actually. But I definitely, I think one of the craziest gigs for me last year was really Up to Date Festival, where I played with Carrie. We had a blind date organized by DTEC, and it was very challenging, and I loved it so much. Like, wow.
Well, for myself, where I love to play is usually, I love small places, not just as a DJ, but also as a dancer. I really, really enjoy that, and they're really packed and sweaty. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I was born in Germany. I mostly grew up there and half Spanish, always going to Spain, now living in Finland. And I have to say, first I was like in Finland, okay, people, why don't I hear you guys in the crowd? Like, I really push it, like there's nothing coming back. There is still coming something back, obviously, but they're more shy, but I appreciate it. They're very open. Like, I really like to play for my new home, who are very patient as well. And there's this one place that has been going around, and I really love to play there. It's Post Bar, so it's not a bar, it's a club. So this it's a small club close to other clubs in Helsinki, but it's really, really great space, and I really like the artists, and I like that they also do have more experimental nights, and they're a bit more open. So if you're in Helsinki, let me know and come and visit.
I went there once in Helsinki. I mean,
Really?
I was, no, not to the club.
Okay.
I was in Helsinki once. I remember, like, thinking of it, you know, it was, in a good way, the most boring city I've ever been. Like, in a very positive way. Like, so chill and so relaxed. I felt so laid back there. Really nice place.
Yeah, it's really laid back. It's nice.
Yeah. Okay.
So to elaborate a little bit on Gare and FOMO, so actually the best places for me to play and to dance are just not the biggest clubs, but the good sound system and the good music, and of course the crowd that dances and not chatting. Not discussing what they had for breakfast by the sound system, for example. Yeah, so just where you can lose yourself, both behind the DJ booth and in front of the speakers.
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, you know that, right?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I wanted to add, of course, like one of my favorite places is the underground. So underground is for me the really, really greatest place to play. It's just such a pure energy, and people coming there. It's such a different vibe. Like that's really still the most for me. What means community is to play underground.
Okay, Miloš.
I think in the past years, like the best experience of playing was in Colombia, because their crowd is, thanks to their promoters who are very, very hard at work at keeping the conversation going all the time. Like, DJing is a conversation, but to have a conversation, you have to speak the same language. And I think with all the different technologies in the past, like 15, 20 years developing, people have sort of lost, it's difficult, you don't know how difficult it is to do something on the turntable versus CDJ and stuff like this. I felt like the crowd there really understood every word that I said, like every cut, every, you know, little trick and everything, and they would react or not react to what was being said. So it was like the most, we're on the same level, we understand this thing, conversation that I've had. They're also educated well enough to like really give shit to their promoters when the DJ doesn't do well. They're like, this is your fault. So I really like that they're alive in that way. But like in like throughout the, I've only been to Colombia once, and that was like a really, really good experience. But throughout the years, Poland and Serbia, for different reasons. Poland, like Up to Date was my first proper international gig. And I've been coming back, and I was lucky enough to meet people who I click with and who always make sure that I have a good time and to feel welcome and at home. So I always like playing here. And I met so many amazing people here, and I love the country. Whereas with Serbia, it's a thing of like, I don't really feel like I belong there musically. So it's not a thing of comfort and leisure like the other two examples are. It's more like I get the chance to challenge people and to, I'll make a compromise, but then I'll throw in a Laurent Garnier track or something like that I like, okay, you need to hear this. So every DJing in Serbia it feels like an opportunity to me every single time. So I love performing there.
You're playing tomorrow, right? Niš?
Yeah, in Niš, yeah. For the first time in Niš, the third largest city. Man, like 20 years DJing since 2014, living off of this. I've never played in my. This is my relationship with Serbia. It's like a love-hate thing, but it's more love than hate. Yeah.
So, talking about your favorite smaller places. So, do you think, in general, and I made this mistake like by saying a city, right? So, do you think techno is confined to be in large cities, especially? Those centers, you know, like, because there are some places which prove it doesn't always have to be true, but how is this achieved? How can you support it in smaller places, not necessarily cities?
I think this whole Immersions project is trying to prove it out otherwise, that we want now, by help of technology, to take the music to where the people are, and people typically are, at least in Norway, they live in cities, but many people don't, and they rarely get to experience the clubs. So that's one thing. Bring the music to where the people are.
Okay. Filipas, what do you think? Okay, I'll let you think. Laura.
What to say? Of course, for me, Berlin is a city I love as well, but it has become really the central point for techno, and I mean, I'm proud of that as well, being German. But it should definitely be spread out more, as Hallvard has already said. With Immersions, I'm so excited to be part of this project and to really push boundaries. How can we do things differently? How can we go back to peripheries also where things started in Germany, not just Berlin is great. There's also Offenbach, which is close to Frankfurt, and there's a club called Robert Johnson, which is a super famous club, and many don't even know it, but it's still alive, and it's really one of the greatest clubs I think I've been to myself. And to promote a bit more, Darmstadt is also, that's the city where I was born, and it's the size of Białystok about, and we have amazing clubs there since the start as well, like many years already. Galerie Kurzweil is a really great place, which it was funny because a friend of mine who's becoming really a big DJ right now, she played there just last weekend, and I was so proud that so great artists come there and others as well. Yeah, so I'm really excited to push and put forward the unsung heroes of the peripheries.
Unsung heroes of peripheries. That's going to be the catchphrase for tonight. Mareen.
Actually, I'm always looking forward to play in a new city that is smaller, because there's much more appreciation to the music and to the people that come there, and the people that really like to connect with the artists. Berlin is so oversaturated these days, you know. I mean, of course, it's fun, and I love it, and I love to go to record shops, to go to parties, do whatever I want every day. But I also grew up in a small city called Rostock, and there's a really nice club these days, and they do just like, they have a very, very strict door, because Rostock is known for having like some weird people around, but the bouncer, he knows everyone in the city actually, and so I think this is where it starts. So okay, who do you let inside? So who do you know? Okay, that fits to your party or not, and it's not about being arrogant or something, but really notice like, okay, this person fits here, and their friends fit here, and if they don't behave, they get thrown out during the night. But I think it's really important that people feel safe in a venue, and their music curation is really good, and there's like some really good examples these days for everywhere where people are really like why they do what they do is so prominent, and it's really important that we encourage these people, and also that the right people go there and play.
It inspired me just, to share a very quick story from my end. In my hometown, when you talk about safety in the clubs, I remember in my hometown of Gdynia, like 25 years ago, there was a party where one of the local DJs was playing, and somebody split the turntable with an axe in front of him.
What?
So safety surely has improved over the clubs. And yeah.
Definitely, for sure, yeah. Also because I think people can talk way much these days on the internet, don't go there, and as everything is much more documented these days than before, so people need to be more careful about these things, and which is good, which is like one big advantage about social media and Google reviews.
So this axe thing was not part of the performance?
It was not. It was the local hooligans. Okay.
Otherwise, I wanted to ask if T. Raumschmiere played with you, because he's known for doing something like this.
No, that was not.
Okay, but yeah.
That was not Vatican Shadow's performance, neither. You know, no. It was just the hooligans being angry with the club, not paying them or something. Oh, Miloš. Oh, Filipas, go ahead.
So, but from what I hear, it's to get the music to the peripheries, to the smaller places, you gotta have a club that's running for many years, and yeah, to curate successful music and to have good bouncers, or you also need to have crazy people who just keep doing what they're doing no matter what. We know all one person like this in the audience.
Oh. Don't mention the guy.
Yeah. Jan J. An inspiration for all of us, I guess.
He's just...
Never.
Never. He never pays me, for example. So you guys get paid? No, he's just too stubborn to stop, you know. That's what I always keep thinking. Miloš.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, the small club thing, I actually wanted to mention that, but I was already yapping too much with like the things that I would love to see change. I think right now there are two things that are really, like I think throughout the last 15 years, the sound systems have gotten better, the production has gotten more professional, so the difference between like a really big event and a smaller club throwing a party has gotten very, very noticeably different. So I think like smaller clubs have to work twice as hard currently to offer something very different that doesn't come from the sheer like power, like brainless power of a big event, for like not nearly a similar amount of profit, or even possibly like more crippling losses than any big party could have. But also there's a thing that happened in the last 15 years that has nothing to do with clubbing, and this is the fact that 15 years ago you would, like, your weekend party at a smaller club would be going against 5 days of absolute boredom, and these days you're going against social media, you're going against YouTube, Netflix, the incredible comfort that we find ourselves in, like constant dopamine. And now you're telling me I have to go somewhere and stand for more than 15 minutes, and like I don't get to choose the music, and you know, so like the big events can offer you this kind of like hysteria and hype that you cannot afford, like get at home, whereas here it really, something has to change for smaller clubs, local lineups, and like there was this like big, it was so funny seeing all of these theories during COVID, like, oh, maybe this is like the comeback of the local art. Nope. Like immediately, as soon as flights were up, it's like, yeah, book all of these superstars for every party in every city on every day. If they could clone themselves, it would still just be. So something needs to change for this. Like there are clubs, but I remember how valuable the smaller places used to be, and I hope they make a comeback in some sort of format. There has to be some recipe that gives them, because I've seen too many small clubs just close. And the warehouse parties are, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to touch upon this one. We all mentioned technology, in particular social media, but you know, digital in general, how it affected the scene. So do you think, you know, do you see it more of a perk or a disadvantage? And what are your general thoughts about it? What's the influence of digital media, in particular social media, but what you mentioned, Miloš, Netflix, YouTube, whatever you name it. What's the overall influence over the parties, over the scene?
For me personally, it's this thing of like, I don't see it as a positive, especially social media. I've talked about this like throughout the years. There's a thing called the number, or the monkey sphere, which is like the number of people your brain can perceive as people, whereas everyone outside of your monkey sphere are things. Like the postman is not a person with feelings and whatever. It's a thing that brings your post. So, so it's sort of there's a softer definition, but just just to go in hard. And it's around 150. This is what like the tribe sizes used to be back before civilization.
155, right? That's the exact number, I think.
I don't know. Yeah. Maybe
the number of people you can make meaningful connection with.
Yes. This is why we have morals. Morals are basically reminders of like, that's a person. Don't steal that bike. It's someone will be sad. It's a human. It's not a thing. But basically, because of the technology, because of also the increase of number of DJs and like producers and everything, and the amount of time that is like for a design, you can see it, analyze it, and have like an instantaneous reaction. And with music, there needs to be time. Even like for a song, especially with techno, it's so terrible because you have to. Techno might be a loop that pays off with a little change that ends up being super significant, but then you have to listen to like the 5 minutes of it. So it used to technology. So the battlefield for attention used to be where your record, that like no one knows what you look like or what your opinions are, where the record is on the shelf, and that's it. That was the battleground. These days, the battleground is whether or not you are in people's monkey sphere, whether or not they know you enough. So the monkey sphere has like a buffer zone of like 800 to 900, which are not really meaningful connections, but it's like RAM memory for people. It's like you're gonna wave to someone, but you don't really know if they have siblings or whatever. So you're either a superstar, so you live in the in the core, and you'll sell out every event, or you're like mid to high or low whatever level DJ, and then you have to fight to get in the buffer zone like a month or a few weeks before the event, and then you cannot count on people really keeping you in that buffer zone because it's a buffer zone. And as you will notice, nothing I've said so far has to do with music, and this is like a full-time job that takes away so much from again, you being you doing music and really digging deep, whether it's production or DJing. So I think the shift of technology has forced us to deal with these really dumb things that have let's put selfies because that's the quickest way to get into the monkey sphere. Let's make sure that our voice is known, our opinions are known. I just want music. I'm old.
You're old. Thank you.
You have to be on social media. You have to put photos of the events, videos of the events. You have to put photos of your personal life, just to show people that you are a human being. You can't just play music.
So is it good or not?
Not.
Not. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll add something later.
One positive thing I want to say about social media is the connection with other artists and other people that has definitely led to really nice collaborations where we just exchange music or whatever, or tracks, and all of a sudden you made a track together or something. So, so I think like a lot of artists that I know these days are just also you. I think we met at Tresor actually, right? The first time? Not on social media.
I'll say yes.
Yes. But so it was a physical word. But one other aspect, of course, is like the shortest attention span and getting really useless in-your-face information in a very short time into people's brain. And this is like a 15-second shot of everybody hands in the air, and I'm the cool guy in the DJ booth, or the cool woman, or whatever. And it's very disturbing because it's like not saying anything about the whole performance or about the qualities of that person playing. It's just basically you can easily make people shout and scream with a track that everybody knows, but it doesn't say anything about the journey that has been created over time. So I think this is very dangerous.
And the promoters are using this material to know who to book.
Yeah. Number of followers, more bookings, right? So buy followers on, you can buy followers on eBay. Go ahead, Laura.
You can also check if these are fake followers online.
I know.
How?
But nobody does,
you just
right?
Google like how to check fake followers online on Instagram, and then there's these websites where you can put the profile in, and then they tell you. Yeah, but I wanted to say of course, social media sucks, of course, but the good part is really the connection with other people, and that just reminded me when I was like, again, back to industrial techno. I was like, I like industrial techno so much, and now I love hypnotic techno as well. And then I was like, in the stupid pandemic time, a bit lost. Like, who should I please, or what is now my sound? And I was like, I'm gonna mix this up. And then I stumbled over International Flinta/Women's Day a few years ago over Subverted, which is a trans-led label and event series focusing on dark sounds, industrial sounds, and hypnotic sounds. And then I got in touch with the founder, Hybro, Tale, and we connected, and I invited them to a radio show of mine, and we just connected over social media, and I found my new family. Exactly the sound, what I have, and they understand me exactly through that. I just had to put it out there. It was the most beautiful connection in a long time I made, so. Now I'm resident as well at Subverted, so I'm really happy about that. Yeah, but I think social media, as everyone says, we are the oldies obviously already here, but it's getting faster and faster, everything. But there's a lot of potential as well. It's not going away. It's going to be other platforms coming, and I think it helped us as well, social media, to become bigger artists.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I don't really have much to add. There's this fear of missing out, obviously.
FOMO.
That keeps everybody struggling for attention, and people finally choose just to stay home because they've been FOMO all night, and instead of going to some place, planning ahead, they just juggle their options and finally do nothing. That's one of the things that social media has done to us. The attention span is narrowing down to nothing, nearly. It's like was said here before, we're dopamine driven, so just leave the stuff alone. Just go to a club, meet people, have a great time. Don't bring your phone even. Just
read
be
a
there.
book.
Read a book, watch a movie. Do slow time thing.
Yeah, but really, the less social media I use, the happier I am. That's a fact for me. Okay, Mareen, do you wanted to add anything? No. So, as we are almost at time, I wanted each of you to share something positive, your best memory, most valuable connection with techno, with the scene, something which meant a lot to you, something which, you know, keeps you going still. Maybe it was last week, maybe it was 25 years ago, or maybe it's just something which is out there in your head all the time, but something which really keeps you driven. I see you already have your
I
answer.
already have something. It's a very strong memory I have from last year's edition of the Monument Festival. It was right after the closing, after 3 days, when this woman approached me and thanked me and thanked Monument for the festival and for the experience, and which was obviously nice. But then she added that she came from Israel, and she'd made so many good friends from Iran at our festival. And as everybody knows, Israel and Iran are not great friends, and they're not allowed to visit each other's countries.
Yeah.
But we kind of created a common grounds for them, and they made friends. And I think that was really beautiful.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, Mareen, I see you have something.
It's hard to pick one, to be honest.
Sure, pick more. Feel, you know.
Okay, so I think in general, just when I look at a record sometimes and I know exactly how I came to that track, where I bought this track, with who I bought this track, in which city, sometimes I feel like, well, I will never give up buying records actually for that. And it really reminds me of like why I love this medium so much and why I love the music so much, because there's so much attached to it and it's like amazing. And also I think I had once, like during the pandemic, there was a stream where I recorded a 2 hours ambient set, and I got a message afterwards that someone wrote like such a long text about how he was healing his trauma doing listening to my set, and I was like, wow, okay.
That's nice.
That's heavy. Yeah, it's very therapeutic. So, and yeah, for me, music is therapeutic, and that's why it's like every day, like some little things pop up and keep me going.
Super. Thank you so much, Miloš.
I've once read somewhere that most people meet their best friends by the mid-20s. And then that's it. You might meet some new people, but like the people you're closest with, you've already sort of ran into them. And being a part of this scene and living off of this thing affords you to meet so many people. And more often than not, it's very clear if you click with someone or not. And again, this job affords us so many connections that every now and again you get to just click with someone who you've just met, and this becomes one of your new best friends, whether or not you live in the same country, whether or not you speak to each other very often. You know you've got someone who you feel at home with, and as someone who, like I previously mentioned, doesn't really feel like I belong, it's these people who make me feel like I do. And I'm lucky to be doing work that allows me to meet people like this. And also, like whenever I come somewhere, like I mentioned, Colombia, or recently Open Ground, or Berghain, or last year, for example, Pakistan, oil in Shenzhen, or pools in Delhi, or something like that. When you reach a crowd that you can feel that they put their everything into their club, and you get to sit in that throne for a few hours that they've made, I feel just endlessly grateful to get the privilege of enjoying that luxury. So I'm just endlessly thankful for my job and those experiences. Yeah.
So all the times when you start the night at the empty club, and when you look at the dance floor a couple of hours later and you see the full dance floor, all these moments are best ones. Also all the moments when you close the club and you see the full dance floor on the last track you play, and also, for example, at Berghain when Devious 1 closing the night, and it's 12 in the morning on Monday. And again, I had a moment that I didn't really like a group of people per se who visit Berghain, who dance in the crowd, but somehow at that moment it just clicked that, oh, they're also people and I don't have to be angry with them. These like epiphany moments.
Can I just, you just reminded me of one experience where I was playing to like an empty club. Like the promoters did everything they could possibly do wrong, and just the stars were aligned in such a way that like nothing, and then one guy came in, he was dancing his ass off, like a big empty room, one guy in front of me dancing, and then at some point he approached me, asked me like, do you have something strange? And I was like, yes, I do. And then I started playing really weird shit, and after a while, some other people came in, and I was like, my brain started like, okay, so these are new, they might not be into this kind of really strange stuff, and maybe I should shift. And I was like, no, this guy, he's the first one, he's loyal, he's still here. Fuck these people. I'm like, okay, but I'm just gonna keep on. And I don't know his name. I couldn't draw him if I wanted to. Like I don't, but his just essence lives rent-free in my head. That was such a, yeah, a full house is great, but sometimes this one person who just wants to talk to you, it's the most magical thing.
What did you play to him? Was it Otaku?
I remember just instantly switching to Clark,
Okay.
the Turning Dragon album, and I was like, okay, like odd rhythms and strange arrangements and everything, and like everything that I was like scrolling and, oh, this thing I never play, and maybe he likes it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Laura.
Yeah, I had really great moments over the years, and I remember one kind of core memory for me was it was a crazy night when I started out. I think it was end of 2017, 2018 beginning. I had my own club night with friends in one club in Helsinki, and then I was invited to play at another club as my first headlining. And I came to the club, I had no idea, it was on a boat. It was called Merikerhos then, and I was like, what, a boat? Okay. And it was, I entered the ship, and normally I really like to do some sound checks because I'm a bit nerdy about that. I entered the boat, and then I go stairs down, and I'm like, this looks like a bunker, it's amazing. And I just started peak time, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna just go hardcore, really dark and in your face. And I remember the crowd going wild, and what I loved is just like most female creatures came in the front, and they just went nuts. And I love to just play harsher sounds, and I see like what you think maybe like people that are female identifying, and they're more like, you know, like little fairies looking, and they just are going nuts. I love that, and I have that in my mind. Thank you for Axel, who invited me to play there. It was one night to remember. Oh yeah, and I had to go back to my event to close again, so one of those nights.
So as we're, as we're about to wrap up, I hope you all allow me to share my two memories very briefly. So my first one was as a listener, when actually it was when I went to the old Tresor for the first time. I remember coming in early, the main room was closed, so we went to talk with my friend to the garden. We'll stay there for like an hour and a half because we had a good chat. Then we came back, we went to the bunker for the very first time. Cora S was playing that night, so really crazy, IDM-ish stuff. And I remember getting so lost in this dark, basically room where you couldn't see anything further than your own hand. So that was me as a listener, like being so lost in this whole anonymous thing. The second thing was when, as a DJ, when we were closing one of the up-to-date festivals, and we went like 2 hours longer, and at the end people came to us where it was Jędrzej, Błażej, myself, Michał, and the other Michał. And people came to us with tears in their eyes, right? So that was something which, shows you there are some emotions. So, sorry, I know I'm a moderator and I shouldn't be, but I couldn't hold myself not to blubber just a little bit. So having said that, I would like to express my most sincere gratitude to all of you. So to Filipas, Laura, Mareen, and Miloš. It was a great chat. It was a pleasure. I mean, the time just, boom, it's gone, right? I mean, I guess we could go on like that for another few hours, but we have a party to attend, I guess.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Immersions. Thank you, Jędrzej. Thank you.